Evening, Joe. You're looking decrepit as always.
I'd take a few wrinkles over that aged, leathery skin look any day.
The only thing aged around here is your eyesight.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I was on the phone with our editor. I was trying to convince him to give us a break.
I don't like the sound of that.
I did my best, but it seems that we will have to have season 8 on our list after all.
A national tragedy.
That guy's such a hard ass.
We also have to plug the channel.
It keeps the lights on, I suppose. Hey there, viewers. It's Donald. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the video.
Yeah, please click the red button and help us hit 100 subscribers.
It's 1,000 subscribers, not 100, Joe.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure our group DM says... never mind.
We already have more than 100 subscribers.
Someone needs to start keeping up with the notification thread in the Discord.
Seriously, though, guys, we appreciate the love and support. It's been crazy. Now, with no further ado, on to the main event. Our editor did compromise with us a bit, by the way. We get to put Season 8 in its own tier as long as we give our reasons.
Do we really need to explain this? Do we also need to teach them how to walk or hold a spoon? It's self-evident to anyone past the age of 6 years old.
I can't believe they would do that to the Night King. 7.5 seasons of build-up, all for him to be foiled by Dickless Greyjoy and the Princess of Plot.
Hey, now, don't paint Arya with that brush. The entire cast got plot power-ups that season, including a random wall Jon chose to hide behind during the Battle of Winterfell.
What a fucking joke. The undead dragon was able to tear down the massive wall that had stood for thousands of years, impenetrable and miles long. And yet Jon hides behind a 3-foot-high chunk of masonry, and he's perfectly fine.
Speaking of the Battle of Winterfell, what the hell was with the lighting? That dragon fight should have been the coolest thing ever, but instead it was a confused, dark mess of clouds and awkward close-ups of Jon and Daenerys.
We've given enough of our time to that garbage. The pacing didn't exist. The majority of plot threads were resolved as unsatisfyingly as possible, and we all know that Drogon should have roasted Jon alive. Let's just move on to slightly better garbage, at least. Someone's got to say it, so I'll say it. Jon and Daenerys make no sense together.
I would have to agree. Kit and Emilia are great actors, but all the talent in the world couldn't carry the lack of chemistry between their characters.
She's also his aunt, but let's face it, that's the part people care about the least. We hate Jon and Daenerys being together because of how poorly it was done. I understand they were on a time crunch, but they were better off just skipping the relationship entirely.
I guess they really wanted to try and sell us on making his betrayal sting in Season 8, but
Nope. I refuse to waste our time validating Season 8. It's in the rear view. We did our time.
Season 7 was a train wreck. It's bottom tier, no question. The cinematography was still pretty top-notch, but the magic of the series was gone. The characters just didn't feel like the intelligent players of the Game of Thrones that we'd come to know and love.
Then to C tier it goes. Let's move on to Season 6. This season was pretty solid. I feel like we saw glimmers of what Game of Thrones used to be in this season. Also, the ending to this season was simply insane.
Getting to see so many different arcs come to a satisfying conclusion was definitely a real treat. If this had been the last season of the show, I wouldn't have been disappointed at all. This feels like an S-tier season to me.
This was S tier, really. That's what you guys think? Are we really going to jump the gun like that? Season 6 was good, but it can't live up to some of our earlier seasons at all. Did you watch the Battle of the Bastards?
He's not wrong. That looked more like something out of Lord of the Rings than anything else. It was a visually striking scene and very well shot, but I still don't understand what Jon's goal was there.
He was overtaken by love for his brother. He needed to go and save him.
Sure, I guess I can accept that. But then what about the other 1,000 people that just sat and watched him run ahead? And the way Jon faced down the charging army by himself? It just felt way too Hollywood.
Fine, it better at least be in the A tier, though.
If that's going to be A, then I better hear that Season 5 is A tier too, and going right above it.
That's real weak, Joe.
I don't think it is actually, Donald. Season 5 gave us some amazing moments and development. We saw Daenerys regain control of Drogon, along with accepting Tyrion into her small council. Brienne finally got justice for Renly. Jon fucks up a White Walker and is subsequently betrayed by his own men. The list goes on.
You're going to tell me that you cared about the King's Landing stuff in this season? Come on. None of us thought Tommen would do anything, and he didn't. We also knew that Cersei wasn't going to die.
I don't think that we knew that.
Oh, come on. You think they're letting some random up-jump priest take out one of the OG villains from Season 1? Please. Also, the Sansa Ramsay storyline was an absolute disservice to her. After coming into her own power at the end of the previous season, she's essentially just put back where she started under the thumb of a psychotic bastard. What shit writing.
Sansa's storyline was wasted. I heartily agree there. As far as Cersei goes, however, The show kills main characters all the time. Just look at what happened to Ned and Rob.
They were both killed by Lannister, plotting, foreshadowed, and laid out several episodes in advance. Not some random faith-based storyline that none of us expected to go anywhere.
The narrative surrounding the Faith Militant and the High Sparrow was a beautifully done plot thread about the power of the common man and the danger of an unchecked religious presence in government.
I think you're outvoted here, Donald. If season 6 is an A-tier season, then so is season 5. The religious parallels were great, and the Walk of Shame was a brilliant scene. Granted, everything about Dorne was forgettable, but that one really hot sand snake chick redeems it ever so slightly.
Your priorities are both terrible, but after your opinions on Itachi Uchiha, why am I not surprised?
How is Eren a hero, but Itachi isn't, Donald?
I agree. That's a ludicrous line in the sand to draw. Moving on.
Ah, yes, the season where Joffrey died. Proof that God answers prayers.
That alone would have it in the running for S tier, in my humble opinion.
I love a good villain, but man, Joffrey sucked. His death was so satisfying, and the impact it had on the show afterwards was incredible.
This season gave us some amazing growth from our favorite characters. We saw Daenerys coming into her own as queen of a foreign city. She chained her dragons for the city's well-being, a selfless sacrifice that speaks to her maturity as a ruler and her love for her people.
And then she blows up King's Landing after they had already surrendered in season 8. What a dogshit character choice.
I think I'm going to start calling that the season that must not be named.
Moving on. The Mountain versus Oberyn was an amazing fight. Honestly, the entirety of the drama surrounding King's Landing this season was great. Tyrion was a total badass, and his speech about being a dwarf was legendary. Him killing Tywin on the shitter was awesome. Also, #FuckShay, the lying whore.
Come on, Donald, it's 2023. You can't say shit like that.
I'm not being sexist. She was a professional whore, and she lied repeatedly. She made us think she loved Tyrion only to literally sentence him to death for a pouch of gold. Come on, if I can't call her that, then who?
No one. That's the point, you misogynistic dipshit.
Fuck you, Joe.
You're on thin ice, Donald. Let's move on to another season before you get us canceled. This is an S-tier season. Get fucked, Joffrey.
I'm going to need a moment here, guys. Sorry.
I've been there, buddy. It was tough on all of us.
Robb really was too good for this world. The young wolf, the king in the north. He was the light at the end of the tunnel, the hero that was going to save Westeros from the threat of the Lannisters.
And then he just had to go and get his dick wet.
It wasn't that simple. He fell in love. Also, Talisa was a queen, metaphorically speaking. She was exotic and beautiful, a noble woman that healed the sick and saw past status to the core of who Robb was.
Robb, oh God, why did it have to be you, Robb? And Grey Wind, too. Good Lord, the pain. I almost stopped watching the series right then and there.
The Red Wedding will never be forgotten. We knew true heartbreak on that day. Between that, Daenerys' storyline in Essos, and Baelish's epic speech about the ladder of Westerosi political chaos, I think we can all agree that Season 3 was a masterpiece.
Jaime losing his hand was also an amazing moment in this season. His recovery felt painful and realistic, and the arc that this humbling moment set him on was amazing, for all that it got thrown away by the season that must not be named.
Sounds like an open and shut case for S-Rank. We've made our decision.
This season was all right. I think I would put it in B tier.
It was a fine season for sure, but in context, it can't really hold a candle to the other seasons. There was great plot development and world building, but this season really lacked the oomph that made the others hit so hard.
B tier seems a little low to me. This season set up so many plot threads for Season 3 and had moments like Tyrion setting Blackwater Bay on fire and Theon betraying the Starks. I really thought he'd murdered Bran and Rickon.
There's no way you actually believe that. Rickon, sure, he's the definition of a spare, but Bran has a goddamn magical prophecy surrounding him. There's no world where you thought he was actually dead in the middle of the second season.
Okay, all right, I can admit that, yes, in hindsight, it was quite obvious. Theon's a massive wuss. He wouldn't have the balls to kill the boys.
What an incompetent ass. I can't believe he brought down Winterfell. The castle hadn't been out of Stark hands for hundreds of years. Of all the people to break that streak, it had to be that Greyjoy pissant.
It's still B tier, though, right? Is the Theon hate that strong for you, too?
I won't give Theon the respect of shifting my opinion that much.
The Battle of Blackwater Bay was iconic. That alone gives it a spot in B, at least.
Sounds good to me. And now here we have it, the last season, the one that started it all.
Is there even any argument here?
We got to meet so many characters that we'd grow to love and hate. The Jaime and Cersei sex scene was also an amazing way to start things off.
Gross, Joe. Show some class.
I'm serious. Graphic portrayals like that on big television networks weren't exactly common, and it wasn't just pointless fan service. It served as a direct catalyst to the entire show.
I don't know that they were that rare. You're just a Lena Headey fan, Joe. Come on, admit it.
That is neither here nor there. I stand by what I said. It's not like you guys disagree. This is an S-tier season.
Can I just say shout-outs to Sirio Farrell? For such a brief appearance, he really made a huge impact. I was thinking about him for at least 3 seasons afterwards. I'm still convinced he was the faceless man that trained Arya.
Sirio was a boss, no question. As was this season. It was amazing. I'm a bit hesitant to put this at the top of S tier, but man, it just gets too many points for being the intro to the series. I will never forget Ned's execution. We were all convinced he was going to live. Don't lie, guys.
I don't know, personally, I had my doubts.
That's easy for you to say now, Donald. I still remember those self-denial voice notes you sent us after episode 9. Don't make me play them back for our viewers.
Okay, fine. Of course I thought my boy was going to make it. I was so ready for the Night's Watch Ned arc. He was going to talk to Jon about his mom and reveal that Jon's actually the heir to the throne. They were going to fight White Walkers together. It would have been amazing.
It really would have been. Alas, Martin decided to go a different way, and we can't pretend it wasn't a good decision, much as I loved Ned. Game of Thrones was one of the most dynamic and entertaining shows of all time.
You should really get into the books, Barack. The show doesn't hold a candle to them.
How many times are you going to try and push those books on us, Joe? I'm sure they're great, but there's no way in fuck that I'm reading them.
I can't be bothered to read 5 massive books only to be left on a cliffhanger because GRRM decided 20 years wasn't enough time to prepare and he needed the eternity of the afterlife to really finish things off.
The man takes Let It Cook to an entirely different dimension.
Whatever. Y'all should at least read Fire and Blood. It's so good.
There's no way that I'm spoiling House of the Dragon Season 2 for myself.
Agreed. I refuse to take that chance.
Come on, guys. It's worth it. I promise. The way Rhaenyra's character develops is brilliant, and
You know how wary of spoilers he is, Joe? I can't believe you didn't see that coming.
I suppose I did walk face first into that one. But I couldn't help myself. The way the Dance of Dragons really takes off with... Oh, nuts. And they left before we could do the closing plug, too. I guess I can handle this. Now, let's see here. Where's that email? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure you hit the books. Wait, no, the bell. Yeah, please hit the bell. What bell are they even talking about? I hate scripts, man.